If it's Thursday, that means it's time for NSRLA action. Welcome, race fans. I'm Chris Smith, joined by Sean Signori and Cam Gillens here in the Slingshot TV booth. And tonight, we're bringing you race number 3 of the Downtown Auto Sales National Series live from Texas Motor Speedway. Since opening in 1997, Texas Motor Speedway has carved out a legacy of high-octane moments and high-stakes racing. Often called the Great American Speedway, this 1.5-mile quad oval nestled on the northern edge of Fort Worth and Denton County sits at the crossroads of cowboy country and modern motorsports. With 24 degrees of banking in turns and a front stretch wide enough to land a jumbo jet, Texas invites side-by-side chaos at 200 miles per hour, and sometimes it delivers more fireworks than a 4th of July cookout in Hill County. But there's more to this place than horsepower alone. The land surrounding Texas Motor Speedway was once part of the legendary Chisholm Trail, where cattle drives thundered north in the late 1800s. That rough and ready independent Texas spirit still lingers in the air, and it's part of what makes this place so special. Under the Lone Star sky, with grandstands rocking and the infield alive with smoke and song, Texas Motor Speedway doesn't just host races, it puts on a show. Texas is known for its attitude, from Eddie Gossige's wild promotions to Victory Lane celebrations that sometimes involve cowboy hats and six-shooters. This place has always leaned into the spectacle. And who could forget some of the all-time moments? The photo finish between Kevin Harvick and Jeff Burton in 2007, the tire failures and tempers of 2020, or the infamous Biffle win in the dark in 2012, with no one quite sure who actually crossed the line first. And just like its home state, Texas Motor Speedway is big, bold, and unapologetically intense. Drivers either love it or they leave it battered, bruised, and headed home early. Sean, this land once echoed with the thunder of cattle drives on the Chisholm Trail, where cowboys pushed thousands of longhorns through dust, danger, and unpredictability to reach the railheads up north. Tonight, it's race cars instead of cattle, but the spirit's the same. These drivers will need grit, guts, and the ability to stay locked in through every twist and turn of the 1.5-mile gauntlet. So tell me, what's it going to take to wrangle a win here at Texas Motor Speedway?
Multiple lanes, high banks, fast speed, bumps to avoid, and the only one who can find their way to victory lane is going to be someone to manage all that tonight. The 1 and 2 being wide open. You can run the top, you can run the middle, you can run the bottom, but in 3 and 4, those choices, they all seem to, narrow themselves down a little bit. 117 laps tonight, 55% fuel. These guys are going to be riding a little light. 5 sets of tires in the pits, but the big one, 0 fast repairs. If you get caught up in some trouble, you're going to have to carry that the rest of the way.
Yeah, we're definitely going to keep our eyes on all those stories and come back and talk about more of them here when we get back after our break. But before we get to some of those stories, we're going to head to everybody's favorite pre-race tradition here at Slingshot TV, the playing of the national anthem. Please rise if able and remove your caps for the playing of the national anthem. We'll be back on the other end of this break. Back here live at Texas Motor Speedway, getting set to go green here for 175 miles around the Texas Motor Speedway. Before we get going green right here and before we set the grid tonight, we're going to get to some of our pre-race stories. And where else do we start other than the point standings heading into round number 3 tonight? The points right now at this point in time in the season, Bryce Hinton, after that win last week at Las Vegas, kind of coming out of nowhere, kind of downplayed his chances going into that race. But he got it done in the closing stages. Looked very impressive in that 28 car, and here he is right now, early on in the season, finding himself in the points lead. Evan Janik, somebody that he's going to have to contend with, we think, all season, is currently second in points, and Tyler Honeycutt in third. Right now, it's very, very close, just 2 races in right here, but this is the second mile and a half in a row right here, so these drivers are going to start to feel like they've got starting to feel like they can understand where they stand amongst their competition as we begin to roll on through the later portions of the season right here. Still very early and still very close in the points. Let's get some of our pre-race stories as we talk about the action around Texas Motor Speedway tonight. And where else to start with our pre-race stories than having a clean race tonight? Sean, what do you have to do around Texas Motor Speedway to keep that nose clean and stay up front all night?
You just got to stay on your toes with the racing so tight. Up in the front, in the middle, and in the back, anything can happen here at Texas, especially with these treacherous corners. Probably the hardest oval track on the NASCAR schedule for a mile and a half at least when it comes to avoiding incidents. It feels wide, but sometimes there just isn't anywhere to go.
Yeah, that's going to be another one of our stories tonight. You mentioned the grooves and turns 1 and 2 being what they are. Groove discipline is a story to keep our eyes on all night as well. Both ends of this track are very different. The high banking in 3 and 4 versus the groove down, the single lane groove in 1 and 2. What kind of challenge do drivers have to deal with here at Texas?
Well, there tends to be some speed up there up top in 1 and 2, but it does eat away at your rubber a little more quickly up there. So going up there intermittently, going up there when you want to pass somebody tends to be the smartest play. But you will see guys up there every single lap after lap, trying to make some positions or trying to gain some ground.
Yeah, we're definitely keep our eyes on that tire management that you mentioned all night. Will drivers tend to go up there maybe to use that upper lane as a passing lane? Are they going to try to be bottom feeders all night long tonight? Should be a very interesting night of action right here. And I think that we're about ready to get going right here. These drivers have completed their qualifying runs. So at this point in time, it's now time to look at the starting grid here at Texas Motor Speedway. And starting on the pole tonight with a blistering qualifying lap is going to be Michael Hayes in that number 19 machine rolling off from the inside of row 1. And on his outside, Tyler Hensley. We know we had a lot of Tyler Hensley fans in the chat last week, so maybe they'll show up again for him this week after a great qualifying run. Evan Janik is going to roll off in the 3rd spot. We know that 60 machine has speed every single week. And on his outside, Jacob Cochran, another driver that you're probably going to have to contend with if you want to find yourself in victory lane tonight. On the inside of row 3, we got Brandon Vees in the number 65 and Michael Cole in the 43 on his outside. Tyler Honeycutt is going to roll off in the 7th spot. That 54 car was really fast last week at Las Vegas. He's going to roll off 7th. And on his outside, we've got Matthew Hill in the 57. Donnie Honeycutt, another driver who was fast last week at Las Vegas and at Daytona, is going to roll off from the 9th position. And last week's winner at Las Vegas, Bryce Hinton, is going to roll off in the 10th position.
Starting 11th going to be Dustin Lewis in his 33 machine, and Blaze Baker going to be starting in 12th. Brett Wynn in his 24 car is going to be starting 13th, and Vincent Short starting 14th. Tristan Love in the 15 car starting 15th tonight, and Andy Berry, your winner from Daytona, starting in the 16th position. Alex Polak starting in 17th, and Gavin Hinson starting in 18th. Brandon Waldrop going to be starting 19th, and Tyler Merkel starting in 20th.
And on the inside of row 11, we got that number 46 car, Bradley Minor. Bradley Minor is another driver that we've seen with some impressive speed this season. And Mark Cofield going to roll off from the 22nd position on his outside. Ryan Bittler is going to roll off in the 23rd position in that number 9 car. He's going to be starting 23rd. And on his outside, Jordan Ives in the number 31, a driver that you've seen very often here on Slingshot TV over the years. Dan Berg, Jordan Ives' teammate, is going to roll off in the 25th position. And Gino Volante on his outside, on his birthday, is going to roll off from the 26th position. Happy birthday, Gino. On the inside of the next row, we've got Stephen Gill rolling off in 27th. And on his outside, Roy Sprague is going to be the final starter tonight. 30 cars attempted to qualify for the 28 positions here at Texas. Unfortunately, David Moyer and Jordan Bridges did not make the show. Sean, we're rolling right here on the backstretch. These drivers are getting themselves ready, getting themselves amped up. If you're on the pit box, any last-minute advice that you're going to give your driver here as we take the green flag?
Yeah, take it easy. There's a lot of cars out here. It's going to be a little bit of a transition with the time going. With that sun going down, the track's going to be changing a whole lot throughout the course of the race. What you might feel bad about now might be in your advantage later. So keep the nose clean, try to stay out of trouble, and hold on, because you just got to make it to lap 30 for the end of that first stage.
Lap 30 is that lap number that we're going to have our eyes on for the green and white checkered flag. But we got to get the green flag first here. It's the Lone Star 175, and these O'Reilly Auto Parts cars are coming to get the green flag. We're underway here from Texas Motor Speedway. Michael Hayes gets off to a pretty good start right here down the front stretch. Going to clear that outside lane. That's Tyler Hensley sliding back in that number 53 machine. Evan Janik's going to get to his inside. Hensley's going to utilize that top lane momentum right there. I think he might clear. Oh, we got one car block sideways. Oh, that was Brandon V's in the 65. He's going to hold on to it, though. And we've gotten it squared away right here at the front of the field. A lot of action behind them, though, Sean.
Most definitely coming off a 2 right there. Looked like Brandon just got a little too loose and about looped it. Great job hanging onto that car for the 65. He did a masterful job not wrapping it back up in front of the field.
Yeah, a great job by him right here. Side-by-side battle going on right here. That's the number 55 machine up top right there. That's Vincent Short. And on his inside, that's Donnie Honeycutt. Behind Vincent right there, you've got Gavin Henson, driver that you've seen on Slingshot TV. For the past several months, we know about the speed in that 39 car. On his outside, somebody's working that top lane in that number 15. That's Tristan Love, looking to make up some ground right there on the top. Double file action right here. Multiple grooves of racing here, Sean. You kind of called that in the pre-race.
Oh, you can definitely make that top line work, as you see that 33 car up there just now getting around 2 guys in 1 and 2. You know, that bottom tends to check up going down to turn 1. And if you're out there on that high line, you can set it up right. You could really carry in some mid-entry corner speed and really put these guys in a bad position off of 2.
Yeah, back behind these guys, we saw Dustin Lewis in that 33 machine get a little bit free. That's that green Tracker Boats car. He's gotten it squared away right here, though. Yeah, he's under some pressure right here. It looks like from the number 6 of Tyler Merkel. Merkel looking to utilize the top lane to get a little bit of momentum right here off the corner. Battle is on and still in front of those guys. That's the number 15 of Tristan Love still fighting it out right here with Gavin Henson, Donnie Honeycutt. And these guys are putting on one heck of a race right here as we complete lap number 4. A lot of challenges here at Texas Motor Speedway, Sean. We talk about how both ends of the track are very, very different. If you're Michael Hayes, some of the guys up front right here, it's like we maybe got a little bit of a battle brewing right here for the 4th spot between Matthew Hill and Jacob Cochran. As Cochran gets loose right there, right in front of Michael Cole, he's going to hold on to it, though. And that number 8 Ford Mustang was wiggling around right here. What's the challenge, Sean, with both ends of this track right here being very different? The flatter end of 1 and 2 versus the high banks of 3 and 4.
Well, we've already seen it tonight with some of these guys using that top line in 1 and 2, and that is where sometimes you want to be when you're side by side in that whole corner complex. But going down in 3 and 4, it flips. You don't necessarily want to be on the top, at least this early in a run when everybody's got a full load of grip. Once the tires start wearing off, you can kind of make that top side work in 3 and 4. But early on in the run, it's definitely all the bottom all the way. As we see a little bit of a switch for position here, Jacob Cochran going down to the inside. That is going to be Matthew Huell in that 57 car. It's going to be a battle for 4th spot right now. Side by side into 3 as you see Matthew kind of give way. But does the car behind him try to stick his nose in there? Gets a little bit of that apron. That's another thing, Chris, about that 3 and 4 is like you'll see a lot of guys throughout the night clipping that apron, trying to get as much track as they can use. And that is just It's going to make your car very, very loose once you touch that.
Yeah, it absolutely will right here. We're watching a lot of great action right here. Jacob Cochran is a driver that we think is very good on the long run. We've seen him here on Slingshot TV in a number of races. We know what kind of long run pace that he's got. So we're going to be watching that number 8 car over the course of this long run right here as we're riding on board. This is with that number 57 of Matthew Hill. This is the helmet cam, shows you his perspective, working that wheel right there, going down into turn number 1. If you're joining us in the chat, we're so glad that you could be here with us. A few people tuning in right here. We got Louis Zambelli in the chat, Brianne Burnett rooting on Jordan Ives and Dan Berg, Noah Monday rooting on Tristan Love, saying number 15 going to win. Got a couple of drivers here in the chat. Unfortunately, yeah, David Moyer and Jordan Bridges. We're so sorry that they could not participate tonight. Yeah, it seems like they had some trouble in qualifying. So
contact right there. 15.
We got
15 going to get in the back of 65. That's Brandon V's. We saw him loose on the first lap, and here we are, lap 10. He's getting loose again. This time with a little bit extra help from that fella behind him in the 15 car that time around.
Yeah,
and then more contact. Yeah, a little bit of a door panel smack there for Brandon going down to 3. I think that is the 55 of Vincent Short, just trying to take advantage of Brandon's bad luck and his lack of speed going down to turn 3. But, man, going down to turn 1 last time around, he was about 90 degrees perpendicular to the cars behind him. Pretty good job holding on to that thing, especially getting out of that with no damage.
Yeah, great save for Brandon Bees right here. Brandon seemed like he's skating around a lot in that number 65, but he is doing a great job of holding on to it through some close calls out there. Yeah, but he's got that thing right here. And now in the dirty air of Vincent Short's Chevy Camaro. We're going to see maybe if he can do what he can to work around him. Yeah, we're so glad that you could join us tonight, even in not the best of circumstances for some of our drivers who maybe didn't quite make the race. Hey, if you are joining us, though, let us know who you're rooting for. It looks like Noah Lorenz is rooting for Evan Janik tonight. Yeah, let us know who you are cheering for, who you're rooting for. And, yeah, you could be eligible to receive a little bit of a prize tonight, possibly. We're giving away a Kyle Busch diecast tonight. It would be great if you could participate in the chat. Let us know who you're rooting for. Just tell us how your day is and maybe what you're seeing right there on the track. And, yeah, you could be eligible to receive that Kyle Busch diecast tonight. Looking at Jacob Cochran right here, Sean, and looks like he is doing everything he can right here to give chase to that number 53 machine right in front, Tyler Hensley. Got some Hensley fans in the chat right here. If you are Jacob Cochran or one of these drivers right here, are you maybe thinking about, hey, what's my, yeah, that 53 gets close to the wall right there. Are you thinking ahead right here about what my car is going to feel like maybe 10 laps from now as we approach maybe the final 5 laps of stage number 1?
Well, right now, at the moment, Jacob Cochran, fastest car on the track lap after lap. You alluded to it earlier, where you thought he might be one of the guys to watch over the long run. And here we are getting into about halfway through this first stage. And right now, he is the fastest guy on the track trying to take chase to Tyler Hensley up there in front of him. But you're going to want to really focus on if that car is going to be handling good later on in this race, possibly with that sun going down. I think that's a little bit of a curveball for these guys to be thinking about here. You know, not often do we race here in the nighttime at Texas Motor Speedway, in the officials or, you know, just in the iRacing at this track in general. You know, the lights are sometimes underutilized here, and so these guys have a little bit of inexperience when it comes to racing here in the dark at Texas.
A little bit of experience in the dark for sure. But we got trouble off of turn 2. Multiple cars involved in this crash. I think Tristan Love maybe is one of them. He's in the outside wall. Look out, guys. Sitting right here, driver's side into the wall. And I think there's another car also involved. Might have been Gavin Henson.
That is Gavin Henson on the inside there, trying to get around back to the pits. So you see them side by side going down to turn 1.
And that's Henson on the outside and the 15 of Love on the inside.
It looks like that 15 just got into that gas a little too soon. It got into the throttle. and sent them both up into the wall. And then the physics took a little bit of a back seat there as it just kind of spurted that 39 car back down across the track. Took a little while for that caution to come out too. The yellow was a little bit delayed on iRacing's part, and that was kind of why the field was in a little bit of a bad spot coming through that crash, because they didn't get a yellow flag for that. So it looked a little weird there, but that was definitely a hard hit to the inside wall for the 39 of Gavin Hinton. I don't imagine that car is going to be getting back out here anytime soon.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either, as we got some cars on pit road right here, including our race leaders, Michael Hayes and Evan Janik. Evan Janik is pushing Michael Hayes down pit road, wanting to get every ounce of time that he can possibly gain right here. Looks like we've got several cars hitting the pit road right here, and this is about 12 laps, Sean, before the stage break. Looks like Michael Cole slid through his stall a little bit. That's going to hurt his time on pit road. Bryce Hinton, last week's winner, looks like he's going to take 2 tires, or possibly just fuel only. Yeah, just fuel only on that number 28 machine. He's going to win the race off of pit road. Evan Janik looks like he's possibly going to beat the number 19 machine of Michael Hayes in the race off of pit road. But yeah, interesting diversion and strategy right here, Sean, with some cars staying out, some taking fuel only, and others taking 4 tires.
Yeah, with that stage caution coming up in about 12 laps from now, I'm surprised more guys didn't stay out and try to save that set of tires for later in this race. To use up a set right now might not be your best play, because what are you going to do at lap 30? You're going to have to either take gas only or not take a set then, or even may possibly take another set and use 2 of them up. But it's going to really throw in a little bit of a wrench for this next restart. It's going to be quite interesting to see how bad the tires are on some of these guys who stayed out. 18 laps on their tires might not sound like a lot, but that is, quite a lot of wear here at Texas with these guys.
Absolutely, quite a bit of wear indeed. Some big developments right here is the drivers, I think they're going to take the Choose this time by. No Choose Beetle tonight, but Matthew Hill is going to take the inside row. Alex Pollock right behind him in the number 92. Bryce Hinton, who came to get fuel only, he's going to line up on the outside of row number 1. Our leader before this caution came out, Michael R. Hayes, actually received a penalty on pit road. Not sure if he was speeding or if there was some other type of penalty, but he's going from the leader all the way to the back of the field, the end of the line. So a story to keep our eyes on for sure is the charge from that 19 car. We know what kind of speed he has. He qualified on the pole. He was in the lead. So yeah, that's going to be, we're going to have one eye set on that guy right there to, keep an eye on the interesting and very, quick maneuvers that he might possibly be able to make out there in that 19 car.
It'd be interesting to see if he had gotten speeding down pit road, because second place guy is pushing him halfway down there. So
that's right.
Yeah, we saw that on the stream right then and there. So that would have been quite a little bit of a controversial call, is that if that's what ended up giving him the penalty there. I'm sure Evan might not be feeling too hot about that one now. But Evan Janik right now starting in 4th spot. So got some guys on older tires in front of him. Our first story of the race was keeping that car clean. This is going to be the first hurdle tonight.
Pace truck's going to pull off, leaving the field in the hands of Matthew Hill and Bryce Hinton. Field approaches the restart zone. Oh, Hill spins the tires, makes some contact with Bryce Hinton. They get it straightened out. We're green here, but that could have been disastrous on the front row. Probably would have collected several cars. They get it straightened out right here. The battle is on for the 3rd position right here. It's not much of a battle, as Evan Janik is going to clear Alex Pollock on those fresh tires. Jacob Cochran going to look to clear him as well, utilizing that fresh rubber, trying to keep up with Evan Janik, as Janik is now going to set aside on some drivers who have a little bit of older tires in front of him, both Matthew Hill and Bryce Hinton, as the field works its way to the start-finish line.
A little bit of a side effect of having those older tires is the unknown on restarts, and you saw it right there with that little bit of a wheel spin out of that 57. You could, like you said, it could have been a whole lot worse. We could have had a car sideways in front of the whole pack on the restart. But one thing to watch on the future restarts is we see Evan Janik trying to make his way to the inside of Bryce Hinton for a second. Going to make that spot. Going to make it work going down to turn 3 as Bryce gets a little bit of loose, getting down to the bottom over the nose of Jacob Cochran. Man, these guys, they're really going at it.
They really are right there. That was close between Bryce Hinton and Jacob Cochran, and that was close also between Jacob Cochran and Michael Cole. Oh, some contact from Jacob Cochran into Bryce Hinton. That's that speed difference in those tires. Meanwhile, battle for the lead, Evan Janik is going for it on the inside of Matthew Hill. Put that number 60 machine out front, P1. Matthew Hill's going to try to slide in line right there. You talked about it before, Sean. You want to make sure that you're on the bottom of the racetrack in turns 3 and 4. Jacob Cochran's going to try to follow suit and make the pass for second right here as the field enters turns 1 and 2.
And Evan got to the inside with a little bit of bump on the 57 car as well. It'll be interesting to see if the 57 takes kindly to that later on in this race. Because right now, he's on those older tires, and Evan, probably could have waited a corner or two to make that contact, but either way, it happened, and he was able to get to the inside pretty easily.
Yeah, right now we got Matthew Hill under some pressure from Tyler Hensley of the number 53. Hensley looking to the inside of Hill. He's going to be able to get position right here in turns 1 and 2. Michael Cole behind them in the 43, up the middle on Bryce Hinton. He's going to try to go up the middle again. That's Michael Hayes on the inside. And he is charging up there through the field. Michael Hayes is on quite a charge in the number 19 machine. A great move up through the field. I think that we're seeing, Sean, that tires are a big benefit. You cannot stay out in front of the field on old tires and maintain track position. These guys who started up at the front, even Bryce Hinton, who we know has a lot of speed, he came to get fuel only. He's already back to the 9th position, and he's dropping fast.
Yeah, you see the big delta difference in the old tires versus the new tires. But keep in mind, later in this race, these guys have that extra set laying in the pits. And they're going to get a caution here in about 5 laps to end the stage. And we'll see if that extra set comes back around, and they're the ones on the fresh tires at one point later in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely something to keep our eyes on. That extra set of tires could be a benefit. Number 55 machine of Vincent Short looking to the inside of Bryce Hinton. Short right there, the number 55. That's the battle for 10th. And Sean, that's an important battle right there because stage points are on the line where Vincent Short is. Unfortunately, Bryce Hinton looks like with the speed difference right there, he's going to miss out on some stage points. But Vincent Short looking to collect on that last spot, the last available position for some stage points right here. Donnie Honeycutt doesn't want to let him get away. Donnie's going to look to the inside of Hinton right here and set his sights on the 55 of Short, trying to track down the 10th spot.
Donnie's pretty quick. He's been moving up throughout the entirety of this race from the green flag on. So it'll be interesting to see if, under these last 3 laps under green, if he can really put in some fast laps and try to catch Vincent for that last point.
Absolutely right here, as he is right now under some pressure himself right here from Brandon Waldrop in the number 50 right here. We're going to set our sights right now on the battle for the 9th position. Hey, a great run tonight for Stephen Gill in the number 5. Oh, he's gonna tag the wall. I'm gonna do my very best to not do an Ellis Thomas impersonation and put a commentator's curse on Stephen Gill by talking good about him right here. But yeah, he is having a great run up here in the top 10. Vincent Short's gonna get by and move up into the 9th spot. We'll see right here if Stephen can hold on here for these next 2 laps and possibly collect some stage points.
Yeah, that pass for position is what Donnie Honeycutt wanted to see. That held him up just that little bit, and now that 5 car is in his sights. I imagine he's going to get to that back bumper, and he's going to have a shot at him before the end of the stage.
He definitely will have a shot at him. That 22 car has a lot of speed in it for sure. The leader of the race right here, Evan Janik, has just 1 lap to go. Oh, it's Donnie Honeycutt cuts the grass, and he gets sideways. He's going for a detour through the grass right here. But somehow, Sean, he's able to hold on to it.
He did a great job holding on. He's only going to lose the 1 spot to Brandon Waldrop behind him. It looked like he went to the top, tried to get around that 5 car, 5 through a little bit of a block, and went back down to the bottom and just got a little bit lost in where he was on the racetrack and clipped that grass, and that's all it takes. But that 5 car gets a little bit of that apron. That's going to open the door for Waldrop coming to the line.
Evan Janik receives a stage win. The battle for 10th right here. Stephen Gill will receive the final stage points, and he will finish that stage in the 10th position. Your top 5 was Evan Janik, Jacob Cochran, Blaze Baker, Michael Hayes with a great recovery, and Tyler Hensley, the top 5. 6 through 10 goes like this: Tyler Honeycutt, in the 54, Michael Cole in the 43, Bradley Minor in the 46 in 8th, Vincent Short in the 55 in 9th, and Stephen Gill in the number 5, bringing it home in 10th. What an action-packed first stage that we saw right here. Pace Truck is going to pick up the field in turns 1 and 2. And you mentioned it before, Sean. This could be where we see a little bit more of a divergence in the strategies. I have to wonder maybe if a lot of these drivers who took 4 tires on that first stop, they got 5 sets of tires in the pits. But you have to wonder if maybe they decide right here with as few laps as they ran, Sean, that maybe we'll get some fuel-only stops, and those drivers like Bryce Hinton, Matthew Hill that we saw before, maybe those guys will elect to come down pit road and get 4 tires this time.
No, they were the ones in the bad seat for the last 12 laps, but over these next 30, they're going to be the ones on the hunt, putting that pressure on the leaders up front. That only is if these guys don't take tires yet again. I can see some people doing that as well, taking another set of tires.
Absolutely, especially with as many as they have in the pits right here. It looks like Evan Janik, and I do suspect that we will probably see everybody coming to pit road this time, knowing that this is a guaranteed stop. The question is going to be, what they decide to do. What is their strategy? Janik leads. Cochran going to follow suit right here, along with Blaze Baker. I haven't talked too much about Blaze, but he's having a great run tonight so far in that 40 machine up in the 3rd spot. Field is going to receive service right here on pit road. Looks like Evan Janik, Jacob Cochran. I could see the right sides going up on those cars. Looks like tires all around. Don't see any fuel-only stops except for the number 5 of Stephen Gill, possibly. That might be the only fuel-only stop. Tyler Hensley is going to win the race off of pit road. A very fast stop for the number 53 crew. Looks like they took 2 tires as well, Sean.
They're going to have the same situation we had on the last restart, but that one didn't go so well getting through the gears, and be interesting to see if that happens again. But that's the strategy calls that they're going to have to live with for the next 30 laps, and I imagine the 5 car and the 53, they're going to have an interesting time over the first 5 or 6 laps after we go green. That is for sure, just like we saw happen to Matthew Hill and Bryce Hinton before.
Absolutely, definitely something we will keep our eyes on here tonight. What you mentioned a great, point right there. I think that, we have to watch this restart right here to see if these drivers spin their tires, especially these drivers up front on slightly older Goodyear Eagles. That was a trouble spot that we saw on the front row on the previous one. So we're going to see right here what the field is. I think the field might get the 1 to go this time. Yeah, they are getting the 1 to go. So we're going to keep it right here instead of going to a break. And watch the field take the choose right here. Those 2 drivers right there. Okay, Stephen Gill is not electing to take the outside. He's going to restart right behind Tyler Hensley, and that's going to put Evan Janik on the outside of the number 53. This might be a good opportunity for Evan Janik to grab control right here, being that he is in some free and clean air on this restart. He probably really likes his position that he's in.
Yeah, he got a little bit of a gift right there out of the 5 car, taking away that inside line instead of electing to start on the front row. Another thing that plays into a factor here, not only do we have the older tires up front, but we could have some guys that are up front not used to the restart zones and the restart boxes. And I imagine that might have played a part in that decision of the 5 car.
Absolutely. We're going to have to keep our eyes on it. We appreciate all of you joining us tonight right here. We got Connor Lyons here in the chat. We got Braxton DeWeese. A great win last night for Braxton at North Wilkesboro in the SRL Invitational Cup Series. David Moore, he's still with us in the chat. Chad CR, we appreciate all of you. Debbie Hensley, everybody for joining us here tonight. Connor Lyons got some jokes here in the chat. We're gonna have to get to that one here in just a second. Pace Truck is gonna peel off though for right now, leaving the field in the hands of Tyler Hensley. They approach the restart zone. Hensley's gonna hold him back for a while. He mashes that gas. We're back green here at Texas Motor Speedway. Tyler Hensley with a great jump on the field right here, but Evan Janik's going to look to make the move to the inside in turn 1. That's close between those 2 cars.
Oh man, that was very close. I almost saw that 60 car hitting that apron and bouncing up into Tyler on the outside, but they did a great job having that little bit of patience right there to lift out of the throttle and make that 53 car live for another corner. But that was too close for comfort, especially after the little bit of a checkup there on the restart. That was very interesting. That ripple effect all the way back through the pack really stacked these guys up, and we got problems going into turn one.
Yeah, Alex Pollock took a detour through the infield grass right here. He saved it, though. Man, everything was really crazy around the 8th and 9th position. Oh, we got trouble off turn 2. One car in the inside wall. That's the number 50 of Brandon Waldrop. He's around. It looks like Brandon V's around. Oh, look out. That's the 21. I think that's Andy Berry. Our Daytona winner is going to get a ton of damage in this crash as well. Multiple cars involved off of turn number 2, and I think that the contact is going to start, Sean, around that number 22 machine of Donnie Honeycutt. You can see Alex Pollock right there in the background taking the detour through the grass. Yeah, walk us through what happened right here between Honeycutt and Waldrop.
It looked like Honeycutt just got sideways there on the top side, needed a little too much track to get down to the bottom to save the car, and Waldrop was just right there, pretty much a victim of this whole deal. And the 65 just collected in the background, and then the 21, I guess, just didn't slow down enough and didn't know where to go and just got into the side there of Brandon Waldrop. And I gotta say, Brandon was pretty much the punching bag there coming off of turn 2, was just holding his line, and next thing you know, he was sideways getting hit left, right, and center.
And what a tough break for Brandon Waldrop. Yeah, that's very, very unfortunate. Brandon V's also. Andy Berry, the other driver in the 21 that you saw involved in that crash. Man, what a whirlwind of emotions this early season has been for him. He picked up the win, that last lap win at Daytona in a photo finish. Yeah, and he had a
DNQ at Vegas as well.
Yeah.
Didn't even make the race. Didn't even make that top 28. That's a hell of a way to end that momentum coming off of Daytona. And the bad luck just continues for him. He had a shot to get back up towards the top of the standings with a good finish tonight. And right now it's just gonna keep going down that free fall.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate series of events for Andy. We'll have to watch his maybe if he's able to get some of the damage fixed on that 21 car. Several cars decided to come to pit road here. Or not several, but a few cars decided to come to pit road. I saw Ryan Bittler on pit road getting some service done right here. So most of the drivers electing to stay out, though. We got Connor Lyons with his jokes in the chat. Or Sean, this is a good one. What do you call dogs eating chocolate cereal?
I'm not sure.
Call them Cocoa Pups. Cocoa Pups. Yeah.
I wonder if he came up with that one himself.
If you watch Slingshot TV on any night of the week, especially here on Thursday nights, you know all about Connor and his infamous jokes. Hey, we appreciate you being here, Connor. As always, you're always bringing the laughs and the excitement in the chat. Yeah, if you are joining us tonight, like I said before, let us know who you are rooting for here. We've got several people who have let us know who they're cheering on right here. For every friend that you sent, if you see it right there in the chat, if you let us know you sent them in the chat, we're going to add 2 points to your name on the leaderboard. So yeah, let us know and make sure that they let us know that you brought them here in the chat.
Aren't dogs not allowed to eat chocolate, though?
Yeah,
I got about the joke, yeah.
I got to thinking about that, Sean, and yeah, I think that's right.
That's what I would call them. I'd call them sick.
Yeah, I've always been a little bit anxious about keeping chocolate around my dogs because, I've always heard it's a little bit dangerous. But
they'll eat anything around.
Oh gosh, yes they will. Yes they will. Oh, he's got another one right here. Yeah, we'll have to look at this one after the restart right here, Sean, unless you have an answer for it. What do you call an angry carrot?
I'm not sure. You're gonna have to tell me an answer for that one.
Yeah, I'm racking my brain for this one. Also, not sure about it. I don't know how these jokes compare to Ellis Thomas's one-liners in the broadcast booth. If you watch, usually on Thursday nights, Ellis normally has some.
He's a funny guy. Yeah,
he's got some cringe-worthy jokes in the booth right here. Brienne Burnett says steamed veggie. Steamed veggie. I think that you're right, Brienne. That's a good one. I like it. I like it. If that's what it is, that's great. Pacetrack's going to peel off, head down pit road, leaving the field in the hands of Evan Janik. Evan Janik's going to restart, kind of late in the restart zone right here, but he mashes that gas right here. We're back green here at Texas. Jacob Cochran side by side with Tyler Hensley. He's going to look to follow Evan Janik right here. Field migrating towards the bottom of the racetrack. Several drivers trying to get around that 53 car. Tyler Hensley having a little bit of trouble coming up through the gears on this restart. That car is on 2 tires, we believe. So maybe a little bit of lack of grip on the left sides of that number 53. If he can get in line right here, maybe he'll just try to fall into this 5th position right here. Michael Hayes looking to the inside of Jacob Cochran, Sean, right here. This is a great recovery for the 19 after we saw the speed early in that race and then having to fall to the back after a pit road penalty.
And it took him 10 laps to go from the penalty box all the way back up the second spot. I'd say that 19, he's got a point to prove, and he's going to let that penalty be, a sidestep for the rest of this race. And about 30, 40 seconds from now, he's not even going to remember it happened.
Yeah, battle going on right here for that 3rd position. That's Blaze Baker in that white and purple Chevy, the number 40. To the inside of Jacob Cochran. Jacob Cochran losing some spots right here after he got shuffled off that bottom lane. Jacob Cochran is somebody that we see, we mentioned it before, be fast in the long run. I think he's very comfortable running that bottom lane, and he's going to be able to get in line right here, right in front of Tyler Hensley and behind Blaze Baker. So get back in his groove right here in that number 8 car. And the battle is on for the lead right here. Some contact. Evan Janik sideways. And he's into the wall right in front of these guys. And somehow we're not going to collect several cars. But that started with some contact between he and Michael Hayes.
Yeah, Michael Hayes caught him coming off of turn 4. Went down to the inside. And these guys just made contact in that worst spot in between the 2 dog legs. I have a nagging suspicion that might be a result of that, maybe that pit road penalty when these guys made contact on pit road. I'm not too sure the 19 car is too fond of how the 60 car raced them there, and this might be, we have another incident for the 60 deja vu. He's going to be going around into turn 1, sideways, stopped on the track, contact behind. I think that's Alex Pollock getting into him. But this 60 car, he got away from it the first time around, but this second time around, he's got a lot more damage to be carrying.
Yeah, and that looks like it was contact that started right there. That looks like the 46 car of Bradley Minor. Minor looking to the inside right here, Sean, and yeah, they make some contact.
Yeah, 60 just needs to give him a little bit more room right there. There was a car inside. He can't run them all in the grass necessarily, and he kind of got himself spun off the nose there. When there's a car inside, whether you like it or not, he's still there.
Yeah, and that was unfortunately his teammate. That's Evan Janik's teammate, Alex Pollock, making some contact with that number 60 as he came back down the hill. So that's super unfortunate for those teammates at Black Diamond Motorsports. Those drivers right there, unfortunately, coming together right here. Cam Gillen's our producer, man. He's doing a great job with the replays here in the broadcast booth tonight. Cam, I believe I got a side-by-side replay right here if we want to take a look at what transpired between the number 19 and the number 60. I'm not sure if we have it available. Yeah, we do right here. So this is Michael Hayes approaching Evan Janik right here. Looking to the inside, and yeah, he has position just barely, gets a little bit sideways in the grass, and might have been a little bit of net code right there, possibly. But we can see, man, Evan Janik, Sean, he fought it for a long time. And unfortunately, just, too sideways for that number 60 machine, and he's going to tag that outside wall. And, that resulting damage might have played an influence in what we saw right there in the contact later on. Maybe that car wasn't driving all that well down the front stretch.
Yeah, I would say so, especially with that hard of a hit to the outside wall. And it's kind of deja vu, almost looked like the same incident, just 2 laps apart and 2 different dog legs. And having that contact in the first or second dog leg's probably the worst spot in this whole racetrack to have that sort of contact, because you're either going to be hitting that outside wall or you're going to be, in front of the whole field parked in the entry into turn 1.
Absolutely right here. We got several drivers or several fans cheering on some drivers here in the chat. We got Jimbo Slice here Thanks for tuning in, Jimbo, rooting on Stephen Gill in the number 5. Hey, Stephen Gill is having a great run tonight in that number 5. Noah Lawrence right here saying, what a save. Yeah, that was a great save initially right there for Evan Janik. KC757 saying, I got word from the infield care center that the 15 of Tristan Love just got tight with the 39. Yeah, those drivers got really, really close right there for sure. Now, you could not see all the action that you're seeing right here around the Texas Motor Speedway without one of our partners here at Slingshot TV, Whiplash SimCams, providing you with all of these great angles. We're going to hear from them very quickly, and then we'll be back on the other end of this break. Don't go anywhere.
No old tires up front.
Back with you here at Texas Motor Speedway. Field has already taken the choose rule. That's going to put Michael Hayes and Blaze Baker on the front row. Hayes on the inside, Baker on the outside right here. As the field's working its way down the backstretch right here. Working lap number 47, Sean, which means that we're getting really close to the end of stage number 2. A lot of stage points on the line right here, so might see some aggression here on this restart.
Most definitely. 13 laps. Still a long way to go. If you got some fresher tires or you got some pace underneath you, you can still make some moves in that many laps. And I'll be looking out for Jacob Cochran here. He was saving his stuff over these first runs earlier in the stage, and now might be the time for him to kind of press that go button and use up that little bit extra rubber that he has underneath him.
Definitely will be a driver to keep our eyes on. Pace truck's going to peel off, head down pit road, leaving the field in the hands of Michael Hayes. Hayes and Baker neck and neck right here in the restart zone. He's going to hit the gas a little bit sooner than what we've seen the last couple of restarts, and he's going to get going. A little bit of a connection flash for that number 19, but he's going to, looks like it's going to straighten itself out right here. Battle is on for second spot. Looks like that's Jacob Cochran looking to the inside. You mentioned it, a driver to keep our eyes on. Cochran in the number 8, going to complete the pass on Blaze Baker in the number 40. Tyler Hensley has really settled nicely, excuse me, Sean, into the 4th position right here on 2 tires. And yeah, that's I would say mission accomplished for that 53 here in stage number 2. He's gotten some breaks maybe with some of the yellows, but he's made the most of them, maintaining his position right here after a 2-tire stop at the end of stage 1.
Most definitely pretty impressive to stay out there and stay this far up on 2 tires. And like you said, you alluded to it, he did catch a little bit of breaks with those 2 quick caution flags that kind of, negated the whole 30-lap run he was staring at with those 2 tires. And now we only have a 13-lap run to the end. And those restart cycles, those will kind of even out those tires that he's riding on board with. And it kind of evens out the tires on the guys around him. So he definitely took advantage of that. And I'd say mission accomplished on his part, especially considering he's got a clean car and he got through all that mess with the leaders couple laps ago.
What a battle going on right here. This is a little bit further back in the field. See the number 48 machine, that's Dan Berg. Dan Berg is currently running in the 13th position. Right behind him, you've got Tyler Merkel in the 6th, Ryan Bittler in the number 9. Those drivers are seeing those stage points up ahead. They're seeing them slowly creep away from them, and they want to try to give chase and do everything they can to get as many points as they possibly can. Right now, those drivers who are holding on to the last couple of stage points in the top 10, you got Vincent Short in 9th, and in the number 57, you got Matthew Heel. Right now, we're watching Tyler Merkel do everything he can to hold off that Texas Pete machine right behind him in Ryan Bittler. There is Matthew Heel, and you mentioned before, Sean, about how he gets to be the aggressor here on this restart right here. After before being on the old tires, now he's on the new tires looking to get some stage points.
Most definitely, and there's still plenty of laps left. He can, kind of make some moves here and get 4 or 5 spots, I'd say, especially if he has a little bit of that advantage on the tires. But at the same time, everybody else took tires around him, so I think we're just seeing the nominal pace that this guy's going to have the rest of the race, and he's definitely been one of the cars up in the top 5 earlier on. He's kind of using that pace right now to his advantage.
Doing a great job, definitely, in that number 57 car. Michael Cole had his hands with him. Cole is going to slide back to the 10th position behind the 57 of Hill. Hill's going to do what he can right here to get after Vincent Short. This is the battle for 8th right here. That number 57 machine is... Oh, we got two cars getting together right there. Yeah,
we had the 60 coming down off of turn 2. He's back out there. Got a lot of damage fixed. The car looks pretty fast, but made a little bit of contact there with that 35 coming off of turn 2. Almost had another big wreck, but he was able to hold on to it like we've seen a couple other times tonight.
Yeah, there is Evan Janik to the inside right there. He's working underneath. I think it's Gino Volante. Happy birthday, Gino. We're so happy that you're here this week. You know, I know he's been a tough couple of weeks for Gino in that 35. So we're happy to see him out here on the track. Man, he's fighting Evan really, really hard. Evan Janik in the number 60. Not sure how wounded that Ford Mustang is right here. He is all over the back bumper of that 35 right here, as the field is going to work its way by the start-finish line. Just 6 laps to go here in stage number 2.
This is quite a spicy battle for being so back here in the back of the pack, and I imagine Evan's probably riding on some tires that have been through a couple of those slides that he had just taken part in, so I don't think he's got new tires, and that might be explaining why he's kind of having a little bit of a lack of pace. Right now, you see that 6 car going to the outside of the 5, Stephen Gill. 6 car's been using that top side a couple times over these last couple laps, I've noticed, and he's really putting it into good use, getting some clean air on that nose, and with only so many laps to go in the stage, now's the time to go.
Definitely the time to go. One driver that's going right now is the driver in 4th position. Tyler Honeycutt is going to complete the pass on Tyler Hensley. Oh, as Hensley gets into the back of Honeycutt, that 54 car is going to hold on to it, though, but man, that could have been disastrous. Bryce Hinton, last week's winner at Las Vegas, is going to try to take advantage of that, picking to the inside of the 53 of Hensley. Hensley is on those 2 tires, and look at Matthew Hill throwing it up the middle in the 57. He's going to try to cross over the 28. I think we're finally starting to see, Sean, maybe a little bit of the differences in the life of those tires in the 53 compared to some of his competitors. We also have gone, a little bit more green flag right here in the closing stages of stage number 2.
Yeah, at one point you have to pay your dues, and now he is going to be charged. He's lost about 3-4 spots over these last couple laps now that these tires are nice and warm and heating up for these guys on 4 fresh ones. And another thing is that 57, when we first talked about him a couple minutes ago, he was back there battling for a 10th spot, and here he is knocking on the inside, for a top 5 spot, and we got a battle for the lead up front.
We do. We got a battle for the lead right here. Jacob Cochran to the inside of Michael Hayes. We mentioned Cochran being a driver you have to watch on the long runs in that number 8, and he's proven it to us right here, working to the inside of Michael Hayes. Just 2 laps to go here in stage number 2. These drivers right here, they definitely want to get the stage points, maximum stage points, if they can get the stage win, Sean, but also getting that track position, just having that clean air going into the final stage, that's a big bonus.
Most definitely there, racing tight as Jacob Cochran moves up the track just a little bit. A little bit of contact there with the 19, but they are going to be in a dead heat coming across the line. 1 lap to go in the stage. And you're right, Chris, we did talk about him. Jacob Cochran using that long run pace to his advantage here, trying to steal away a stage win from that 19.
These guys are racing all out right here. The 19 is going to have the momentum from the top lane in 1 and 2. He looks to the inside of Jacob Cochran. Nothing going down there. Cochran has position entering turns 3 and 4. And Jacob Cochran has utilized that long run pace to pick up the stage win here in stage number 2 at Texas Motor Speedway. Finishing in second here in stage number 2 is going to be Michael Hayes. Blaze Baker is going to bring it home in third. Matthew Hill with a great drive up through the field in the 57 is going to bring it home in 4th. Tyler Honeycutt going to finish in 5th. Bryce Hinton is going to bring it home, last week's winner, in the 6th position here in stage 2. Tyler Hensley, great drive for Tyler Hensley. We saw him lose a couple spots right there at the end of the stage, but a great job on 2 tires to finish in 7th. Bradley Miter finished in 8th. Michael Cole is going to bring it home in stage 2 in 9th, and Vincent Short will round out the stage points in the 10th position.
Got to show some love to that 57 car. Restarted that last 13-lap run in the very back. Was able to drive all the way up to 4th position at the end of the stage. Less than a second behind the leaders at the line. I'd say 5 more 10 laps, you might be looking at a different stage winner right there.
Yeah, and according to my numbers, Sean, he did make a trip down pit road in the middle of that stage. I show 16 laps on that set of tires for the 57, so he definitely had a little bit extra tire advantage on that car. But, clearly, with all the cautions, that kind of, wipes a little bit of that advantage away. So he clearly also has a lot of speed in his car as well. So a driver to keep our eyes on for sure as the field is going to work its way through turns 3 and 4 and head down pit road. Expect to see all drivers come to pit road this time, Sean?
I'd say so, especially with the long run coming up next. These guys only have so much fuel left on board. If you stayed out now, you'd have to pit in about 15, 20 laps. So I expect everybody to come down, take a full tank, but the tires are another thing. We've seen them play around with that tire strategy all night, and this is probably the most important pit stop when it comes to how you're going to lay out that strategy for the rest of the race.
Absolutely, I would say so as well. I totally suspect that we'll see all these drivers come down pit road and take those 4 tires. This race hasn't really had much of a green flag look to it, maybe other than those final about 15 laps right there in stage number 2. So, yeah, who knows? These drivers might take off right here, and find themselves going green to the end of this thing. Looks like everybody possibly is getting 4 tires right here. Matthew Hill is going to be the 2nd place car coming off pit road behind Michael Hayes. He's got that number 1 pit stall, Sean, and that is a big advantage for the pole sitter. Just got to bump that clutch and get across the line.
Oh, most definitely. Especially here on iRacing, sometimes that cone is right outside that first pit stall. Tough stop for the 8 car of Jacob Cochran. Came in as the leader, slid through his box on the entry. Only cost him 2 spots at the end of the day, but he's going to be kicking himself over the mistake he made on the pit entry that time around.
I mean, we are seeing, I cannot believe it, Sean, but I think that we're seeing the number 19 machine receive another penalty. Our race leader, Michael Hayes, I'm not sure what it was for, but yeah, Blaze Baker is asking in the chat, asking if he was speeding, and he's going to have to do this all over again, Sean.
Well, at least we saw it. He's got plenty of time to do it based on what happened last time. It only took him 10 laps, but that is a big mistake out of that 19 car. And guess what? He didn't have someone pushing him down pit road this time to pin it on. So all that blame is going to lie in his lap, and he's going to have to really get up on the wheel if he wants any shot at getting back up towards the front. I imagine he's going to need some yellows, some cautions here, just like we saw in stage 2, to kind of help him on his journey and his adventure to get back up to the lead.
It's definitely going to be an adventure watching that 19 get back up there towards the front. We're so appreciative of everybody joining us here tonight here on Slingshot TV, joining us every single week here on the channel, both Monday night, Wednesday night, and on Thursday night. If you tuned in last night, you saw some great action at North Wilkesboro. We're going to be back after it this upcoming Monday night, for 3 nights out of the week racing here on the channel. Tonight, these NSRLA boys are giving us all we can handle here at Texas Motor Speedway, and everybody is cheering them on. We got Derek Bittler in the chat talking about Ryan Bittler climbing up through the field. Yeah, great run for Ryan Bittler in the number 9 up through the field. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in right here. Debbie Hensley, Brianne Burnett, Connor Lyons, everybody for giving us your cheers for your favorite drivers here on the racetrack. Pace Truck's going to peel off, head down pit road, leaving the field in the hands of Matthew Hill. Hill's going to hit that gas, get back going right here to his outside Blaze Baker. Baker's going to fall in line behind that number 57. Field trying to get single file as they work their way through turns 1 and 2. The closest battle here to the front of the field is around Michael Cole in the 43. Cole is going to get passed by the 28 of him. We got trouble off turn 2. Several cars involved.
Turn 2. Yeah, 4 guys all sliding all over the place. You got the 5 car there, Stephen Gill.
Yeah, Stephen Gill. Yeah, Donnie Honeycutt, I think I saw him around. Stephen Gill was around right here. Oh, and it looks like a car got loose in front of these guys. Actually, our producer Cam Gillen's going back right here to try to get us the replay action. I think it's actually going to start around...
It's a 24, Brett Wynn.
Yeah, Brett Wynn in the 24. That car got loose. Bradley Minor, Vincent Short, Donnie Honeycutt. Man, Stephen Gill with a great run. We sung his praises early in the race. You know, the good news is, I got to be honest with you, Sean, I don't think I saw anybody hit anything too hard. I think the hardest contact might have actually been between Brett Wynn and Bradley Minor. Actually, you know, coming back up the hill, Vincent Short got hit pretty hard in the door, but not a lot of significant car-to-wall contact is the only positive I can take from this.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I think everybody got away from that pretty light, all things considered, especially with the whole pack bearing down on them coming down the backstretch. And I think they should be able to stay on the lead lap, get their damage fixed, and still be in contention for a good finish at the end of this deal.
Yeah, I think that we did see, that might have been Jordan Ives in that blue and white number 31. I think that he maybe received some nose damage in that crash. Oh, no, I take it back. Actually, he already had his nose damage. He actually did a great job avoiding that crash. So, yeah, along with a few other drivers as well. Saw Dan Berg, Michael Hayes, Evan Janik, all taking evasive action to get by. Some of those drivers, those very fast drivers who found themselves in the back, you know, through just some unfortunate circumstances. So, a lot of action here at Texas Motor Speedway tonight. And you've been seeing it all thanks to our partners at Whiplash SimCams. We're going to hear from them and be back on the other end of the break to bring you more live green flag action. Back here live at Texas Motor Speedway as the field is working its way through turns 3 and 4. I believe they are coming to the choose rule this time by here. And we'll see what these drivers elect to do, which lanes they decide to start in here tonight. Saw a big crash off of turn number 2 just moments ago. But luckily, most all of our competitors remain here on the track after that calamity. Field taking the choose right here. And you might notice that we've got a new leader in town right here. The number 40 of Blaze Baker was able to make his way around Matthew Hill. And we got a little side-by-side replay right here that might walk us through what happened. In all of the excitement with the crash right there, Sean, we missed out on what was going on with the race leader. That's Matthew Hill in the 57. And we can see that 57 machine right here in front of Blaze Baker get a little bit free right here off of turn number 2. That car stepped out, that very colorful number 57 Ford, and that enabled Blaze Baker to get to his inside and complete the pass right here on the 57.
Yeah, it might be a case of cold tires on that 57, you know, back in the pack for most of these restarts all night, especially with the ones on the new tires, and hasn't been up front starting on fresh rubber, and that just might have bit him right there, asking a little too much out of that throttle pedal.
Absolutely, and yeah, we'll see what Blaze Baker can do with it. Haven't seen him in the lead yet, but we have seen a lot of speed out of the number 40 machine. So yeah, we'll see what he can do with a little bit of clean air on the nose of that number 40 machine. Field's going to work its way through turns 3 and 4. The fast end of the speedway right here. The pace truck will peel off. We'll see what kind of action we have on this restart. If it's been like all the other ones, it's not going to disappoint, Sean, as Blaze Baker is going to hit the gas and get going right here. Green flag back in the air. And Jacob Cochran looking to follow that number 40 machine to the inside of Matthew Hill in the 57. Move Cochran up to the second spot. And that number 28, that's Bryce Hinton. He's looking to the outside of Cochran. I don't think he's going to have position right here. In fact, Cochran is going to look to the inside of race leader Blaze Baker, put that number 8 machine back up to the front.
And we saw that 28 also was on that off strategy like the 57 car, but he did not take fresh tires during the middle of that second stage. And he's worked his way back up here the hard way and has gotten it piece by piece, step by step, and has kept that nose clean back there with all the incidents and all the craziness. And right now he's put himself in a position where he can challenge Jacob Cochran for this lead. He's going to try to go to the high side here, possibly going down to turn 3.
Yeah, last week's winner, Bryce Hinton in that 28 car, we know that he knows how to get around these mile and a half, Sean. We know that this is a different mile and a half than Las Vegas Motor Speedway, no doubt about it. But a lot of the same approaches, a lot of the same mentalities still carry over across the mile and a halves right here. What does it take to be a good driver on the mile and a half racetracks?
You kind of have to understand the air, understand that sometimes you can't follow people through these corners right on their bumper, especially in some of these faster NASCAR types. And you also have to understand how to save tires. The tires really rear their ugly heads once they get hot and warm, and you lose a lot of time at mile and a halves on older tires that you did maybe burnt up too soon. So you have to be a little bit of a tire whisperer if you're going to be really fast on the mile and a halves and contend up front for race wins.
Yeah, we are seeing Bryson. It looks like he's kind of shallowing up the corner entry compared to Jacob Cochran. Like you mentioned before, maybe trying to get a little bit of clean air on the nose as they enter the corners right there. Cochran taking a little bit of a later apex than the number 8, doing what he can to maybe stir up that air, as you mentioned, onto the nose of that Toyota Supra.
And we've seen the 8 car really take it easy at the beginning of these runs, trying to save his stuff, save that tire. I believe he's still going to be doing the same thing, even with himself being out in front. That might cause some of the 28 to get to his bumper really in the center of the corners and such like that. But it's going to make it interesting. At one point in the run, does Jacob Cochran decide this is when I have to go? I got to use up these tires and use up what I got. We saw him make that decision in stage 2 and ended up with him winning the stage. And I imagine he's going to be someone these guys are going to have to really fight hard for that win tonight.
Yeah, great drive right here from Michael Cole. Really gaining on these guys right here in that 43 machine. Michael Cole, he's always a fun interview. We always like getting him in the Slingshot TV booth. And here he is right here in the 3rd spot. If the race ended right now, we would get a chance to interview the driver of the number 43 right here. So Michael Cole putting a lot of pressure right here on 2nd place Bryce Hinton. And Sean, with all that pressure from behind right there, does that really, just add to the urgency for the 28 maybe to try to complete this pass to get that driver off of his rear bumper?
Most definitely. That 28, he's telling himself that he is faster than Jacob, and he's going to really be under the pressure to get around him, especially as this run wears on and these tires get hotter and harder. They're going to be, more difficult to maneuver, more difficult to get around. As he gets to the back bumper of Jacob Cochran coming off of turn 4, going to be looking to make that pass possibly this time into turn 1. He is right on his bumper. The track is his. Here he goes to the inside. He's going to be a little patient here, but he's going to be working over this 8 car smoothly and steadily over, this whole first half of this run here.
Yeah, putting a lot of pressure on that 8 car on corner entry. Every single time I see that 28 peek out right there entering these corners, both in turn 1 and in turn 3. Ooh, Jacob Cochran kind of slid up right there in turns 3 and 4. Got up off the bottom a little bit. That maybe is going to enable the 28s. I think he's going to slide back in line right here. This is the battle right here going on between these 2 drivers who we saw make some contact earlier. I like what our producer Cam Gillens is doing right here. He's bringing some attention to it, Sean. That's the number 19 of Michael Hayes, the number 60 of Evan Janik. They're kind of close to each other, as meanwhile up ahead of them, the battle is on between Tyler Hensley and Matthew Hill. They were momentarily side by side. Put Hensley in the 5th spot, Hill in the 6th.
And once again, that 19 making quick work of the pack behind him as he's already up to the 7th spot. But side by side for the lead, right? Bryce Hinton had to get on the brakes there, got really, really tight underneath Jacob Cochran. Great job by Jacob to identify that and take a higher line to not get swept up in the 28s. A little bit of a aero deficiency right there, we could call it, in the center of 1 and 2. A great job by both of them to live for another day. And it'll be interesting to see if that possibly took a lot of life out of that 28's tires, because now he's stuck behind the 40 and the 43.
Yeah, he is, and that's just, you mentioned it, just a little bit more dirty air on the nose of that Toyota. Got some more drivers tuning into the chat right here. We definitely appreciate you chiming in right here. We got Brad T. Nelson. Hey, Brad, we hate that you can't be out on the track tonight, but hey, we appreciate. Oh, we got. Oh no, never mind. We don't have any trouble. I apologize for that right there. Yeah, we've got. Looks like Brett Wren saying, "Oops." Yeah, we're sorry about your misfortune earlier, Brett. But yeah, we're glad that you're chiming in right here in the chat. Noah Lawrence says Janik has been working his way back up again. Yes, he has. I think the damage. I think there's some damage on that 60 machine, as Sean mentioned. But he's doing a nice job of just recovering. Kind of one of those grinded out kind of nights, and he's definitely making the most of it so far.
And we've seen the most of the speed tonight be out of that 19 car. He's able to stick with him so far. 19 passed him 3 or 4 laps ago, and he really hasn't driven too far up the road. So pretty impressive out of Evan Janik to be as far up as he is, even after those incidents earlier.
Yeah, these drivers are they're definitely catching my attention out here. Maybe yelled just a moment ago for some trouble, and that's just because they're just racing so hard and sliding sideways. But man, they're doing an awesome job of recovering. Battle is on for second right here. Blaze Baker looking to the inside of Michael Cole. Cole with a little bit of a wrinkle to that right rear, that 43 Ford. Man, I don't know if that's going to affect the handling on that car right here, but put Baker into the second spot ahead of Cole. Blaze Baker going to have to see maybe what he can do with Jacob Cochran now. Got a little bit of air, got a little bit of running room right here. Can maybe stretch his legs a little bit right here in this 40 car and see what he's got compared to Jacob Cochran.
And maybe he was the one using the Jacob strategy and saving his stuff early on in the run. He started up front. We saw him get passed pretty easily by some of the guys up there that went around the 8 car, the 28, and some of these other fellas drove around him pretty quickly. And now he's the one passing them back and putting a lot of pressure on Jacob in front of him. As we got movement behind these guys, Bryce Hinton, you see the free fall continues as his tires might have took a little bit of a beating there when he got on the brakes underneath of Jacob for the lead. And right now he's got Tyler Hensley, Matthew Heel, and don't see it, but that is that 19 working his way back up to this pack, trying to get himself back up in the top 5.
Yeah, a great job, a great recovery right here for Michael Hayes. Hayes working to the inside of Bryce Hinton, move Hayes up into the 6th position. Gonna set his sights on the top 5 now, just up ahead. Matthew Hill taking a late apex, and yeah, look what it did to the momentum of that 19. It didn't stall him out as much as I thought that it might. Speaks to just the speed in the center of the corner that Michael Hayes has right there. Tyler Hensley just in front of these drivers, doing everything he can to hold off Matthew Hill. Hill's trying to get up the track a little bit in the clean air and seeing if he can maybe use that higher lane to get some momentum. He's going to peek to the inside. They're going to make contact. The 53's around right in front of Hayes. Head on into the outside wall. Hayes is collected. Hensley is collected. And that was a very aggressive move right there, Sean, into turn number 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the 57 was thinking right there in that moment. He wasn't necessarily close to the 53 and made a little bit of a Hail Mary going down to turn 3 to get underneath him. And the 53 just didn't give him enough room. They make that contact, and the real loser here is Michael Hayes in that 19 car. Obviously, the fastest car we've had here all night gets involved. Nowhere to go in an incident like this. He is going to be more than frustrated with how this race went for him.
Yeah, that was a very, very aggressive move by the 57, and I think that you mentioned it very well, Sean. Don't think he really had positioning when he ducked out a line down the backstretch. When he tried to make that pass, it seemed like he was a little bit of a ways off. From being able to get side by side with that car. So maybe a little bit of an optimistic move right here as the field's going to come down pit road. A little bit of a jam up right there behind the 40 car of Blaze Baker. Man, Shaw, that's going to give the number 8 of Jacob Cochran, that's going to give him a big advantage right here as the field works its way down there. He can afford to be a little bit, conservative getting into his pit stall and not slide through right here. And if everybody takes 4 tires, no mistakes, he's going to find himself winning the race off pit road.
Well, that's what he's going to want to see, especially after the mistake he made last time on pit road. A little bit of space. It's exactly what he wanted to see. Took his time getting off, and as we see it coming off pit road, he's going to have an even bigger space leaving.
He is, and Blaze Baker is going to come off pit road in second spot. Field coming off Evan Janik in the third spot. Donnie Honeycutt in fourth. Looks like 4 tires all around, and that is an awesome pit stop. And, all of the attrition that we saw right there, I think it really worked in the hands of Evan Janik as the field comes off pit road. Janik, with all of his issues earlier in the race, is going to find himself right now in position number 3 for that number 60 AmSoil machine. Let's see if that car, if he's able to maintain his pace, with what he's got right now. I wanted to try to grab a word with Evan. He's usually good to chat, but unfortunately, I think they're coming to the choose right here. So I'm going to let him concentrate right here. And if we have any more trouble here before the end of this thing, we'll see if we can grab a word with the driver of the number 60. Phil's going to make their way to the choose. And as they're doing that, Sean, do you think this maybe gets them in position right here to find themselves making it to the end of this thing?
I believe so. They should have plenty of gas. Might be pretty tight, but I think these guys have enough gas to make it to the end from here. And you just mentioned the 60 car of Evan Janik. He was out there making some aggressive moves earlier in the race. We just saw a big aggressive move out of that 57. I wonder if an incident like that kind of gets him to relax a little bit and maybe, second guess some of these other moves he's about to make. But I feel like he's going to be putting on a show trying to get back up to the front. Most definitely.
Absolutely, and he came off pit road in third, and the front 3 drivers elected to take the inside. I think that's kind of what we've seen so far all night, Sean. It seems like the inside rolls really well through turns 1 and 2 on the initial start. It seems like the top lane can eventually, once, in turns 1 and 2, once they get a lap or 2 on the tires, that's a viable lane maybe to try to make a pass or get some momentum. But it seems like on that first lap, that outside lane has had a little bit of trouble keeping up with the inside lane as field's going to work its way through turns 3 and 4. I saw one driver, it looks like, fall into the back. That's Bradley Minor. It looks like maybe a penalty for the number 46. This is a tough break for him. Pace truck's going to peel off. Oh, a little bit of a jam up back here. Watch out, guys. I think everybody's going to avoid catastrophe right here as Jacob Cochran is going to lead the field down into turn number 1 on this restart.
It really spread out the whole pack there. This is how this restart took place with everybody on the inside line, plus that jam up. Going to have these guys spread out pretty thin here, and it's going to maybe lead to a nice little bit of a green flag run. But as I say that, the wreck for the 5 car coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, he got hit from behind, and I couldn't tell who that was. One car hit him from behind, going very, very fast. That's Stephen Gill in the number 5. I should not have ever mentioned the great run that Stephen had earlier because I feel like I have done nothing but put the curse on that number 5 machine as we watched him battling it out in the top 10 earlier in this race. There's Stephen right there with some pressure from Michael Cole. And, walk us through what happened right here, Sean.
Just got loose getting back onto the gas and had a tank slapper going and ended up outside into the wall. And almost kind of similar to what we saw out of the 57 when he got out front and got loose on those cold tires. And the track's cooling off. It's the coolest it's been all night. Tires are going to take a lap or 2 to heat up, and I think we're kind of seeing that catch some guys out.
And the car that came and hit that number 5 machine a little bit after the fact, that was the 35 of Gino Volante. So a tough break for Gino on his birthday. We saw the hood on that number 35 fly up into the air and actually go over the catch fence. Luckily, no fans sitting in that section right there on the backstretch, so everybody should be all right, except for Gino's feelings probably, and Stephen Gill. So very unfortunate for those 2 drivers. Bad
break for Gino there, and I kind of felt like the caution took an extra second or 2 to come out, and that probably what alluded to that. I didn't know there was a wreck there coming off of turn 2, and next thing you know, there's just a car stopped up top in front of him.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely a tough break for him. While we're navigating here around the racetrack here under caution, might be a good time right here to see if we could pull in the race leader, Jacob Cochran. I hope that he'll be good to talk to us here in that number 8 machine. We're going to see if we can pull him into the booth very, very quickly. Jacob Cochran, our race leader of the number 8. This is the Slingshot TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Jacob, we've seen you out front here in the later stages of this race right here. That number 8 car looks really, really good out front. What do you got to do to keep it there here in the final few laps of this thing?
Just got to keep the tires under us. I mean, that's been the whole name of the game, is just saving tires and, just try to keep control of the race and see if we can't come out with the win.
Yeah, we've seen you in control for a lot of this thing. We've seen you definitely maintaining that pace on the long run, and we're going to be watching you right here in the closing stages. Coming to the shoes right here. Good luck the rest of the way. Maybe we'll be talking to you at the end of this thing.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And that is Jacob Cochran in the number 8 machine. Going to send him back to his team right here as the field is going to work its way right here to the choose right here. And oh, here we go, Sean. We got the second place car. Blaze Baker took the bottom before. Oh, he tricked me out. I thought that he was going to take the outside and go side by side with Jacob Cochran right here, but he's going to fall in line with Cochran and leave the outside open for Evan Janik.
Yeah, that definitely surprised us last time around, the top 3 electing to choose the inside, and I imagined it was going to go a little differently this time around, and most definitely Evan is going to take advantage of that. He might not have a clean car 100% underneath him, but we've seen the pace out of him. And if he can stick to the outside of Jacob Cochran going through 1 and 2, it's anybody's race down into 3 and 4.
Definitely going to be anybody's race right here. High stakes right here on this restart. Number of yellow flags here tonight, but these drivers are definitely putting on one heck of a show. Some more people tuning in the chat. Well, yeah, we mentioned David Moyer earlier. We're definitely sorry about David's trouble tonight qualifying, but he is here in the chat saying, "Be rad, funny dude," rooting on Jacob Cochran, it seems, right here. So, yeah, we're going to be watching Jacob right here on this restart, see if he's able to maintain control over the end of this thing. It looks like right here that we are not... Okay, now I think that my eyes were deceiving me right there. And yes, we are going to go green this time by. Hey, if you're tuning in just now, let us know who you're rooting for right here in the final stages of this thing. We're getting down to the pay window here as Pace Truck peels off. Another jam up, and I think we got maybe a couple cars around. I think they saved it. Jacob Cochran's going to get going right here. I looked up and I saw Jordan Ives sideways, but we are still green. We are still going, and Jacob Cochran's off to a great restart right here through turns 1 and 2.
Definitely what Jacob needed was a little bit of space between him and the guys behind him, and he got it. Masterful job getting through the gears, timing that perfectly. Kind of caught Evan sleeping there a little more than I expected out of him, but Evan on the outside, not going to give up this second spot as there's contact between him and the 40. Through the grass goes Evan Janik. Will this bring out another yellow as these guys are sliding into pit road?
And
definitely not what they needed.
And we are still green. The race controller has decided to keep the field green right here as Blaze Baker's actually stopped on the racetrack entering turn number 1. Evan Janik circling the grass. They get it back going again. We are still green right here. Battle on for second between Donnie Honeycutt and Michael Cole, the 22 and the 43. This all of a sudden is for a podium position.
Yeah, some new players up front tonight after we've seen a lot of trouble for the top 5 over the last 20, 25 laps. And now we have the 22, the 24, the 54, all in play for a top 5 position here. And this is definitely going to change what we might have as a finishing order later, as we have the 60 car and the 40 out of the picture now. They're going to need a caution or maybe even 2 to put themselves back up into the top 10. And right now, it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, we definitely want to keep our eyes on the battle on the racetrack right here, coming to just 20 to go as we're approaching the final stages of this thing. But we might be able to go side by side to provide another look for what occurred between the 60 and the 40. Evan Janik and Blaze Baker battling out right here for the second spot. There's Janik on the outside. Some contact from the inside. Blaze Baker sliding up, getting a little bit tight right there on corner exit. And that 60 machine goes sliding through the infield grass along with the number 40 machine. Both those cars, unfortunately, is going to take them out of contention for the win of this thing.
Yeah, definitely hard racing there for second spot on a late race restart. 40 car got to maybe even tap that apron a little bit, sent him up the track, but definitely made contact with that 60 coming off the corner and sent them both for a nice little ride through the grass. At least the grass got taken care of today.
It definitely did. It's gotten a lot of attention down there on the inside of the front stretch. Michael Cole now under some pressure right here for the final step on the podium. That's Matthew Hill in the 57. Matthew's been an entertaining driver to watch all night tonight. And how about that number 24 car of Brett Wren finding himself up in the top 5? And he is approaching that number 57 machine in the 4th spot of Matthew Hill. A great run for Brett Wren tonight. Oh, as there's a car slow right in front of him, that's Tyler Hensley. He has to take evasive action to avoid him, and he does. But, man, I want to give a call to Brett Wren. This is one of the best runs we've seen him have on Slingshot TV in a while. Great run for the 24 tonight.
And it wasn't long ago he was sliding through turn 2, causing that big wreck there we had about 20 laps ago, and got an EOL for it. Went all the way to the very back of the pack, and here he is, back up into the 5th position, missing all of the calamity that we've had of recent. And, yeah, can't say anything else about it, but a great run out of him over these last couple laps.
A great run for sure, and yeah, Brett has been he's been a regular here on Slingshot TV and other series, and we're always happy to see him on the racetrack. Battle going on behind them is actually for the 6th spot. That's Tyler Honeycutt, along with the number 6 of Tyler Merkel, the 54 and the 6 battling it out for the 6th spot. 6th and 7th right here. There's a joke there somewhere, but I'm going to try to avoid it. And back behind them, you've got the number 28 of Bryce Hinton. Bryce looking to charge his way back up through the field here.
Bryce took a trip down pit road and got some fresher tires on his car recently, so he is using those to the better of it, and he is moving himself back up into this pack. If this thing stays green, he might be in a position to be battling for a win if he's got that much fresher tires underneath him.
Yeah, a little bit fresher tire for sure on that 28 car, and yeah, he's last week's winner at Las Vegas is charging his way back up into the top 5 right here. It's not going to be long before he finds himself there, I feel like. We got, looks like Brandon V's chiming into the chat right here saying that he blew his engine in that number 65. We're sorry about your misfortune tonight, Brandon. We're glad that you're joining us right here, but yeah, we can't. Oh, as Brett Wren is going to make contact with Tyler Honeycutt. He tagged the outside wall. Honeycutt was into the left rear as he bounced off the wall. They're both going to save it, and my, that could have been disastrous for both those drivers. Give a call to not only Brett Wren for the great save, but give a call to Tyler Honeycutt right there for giving Brett a chance to save it, backing off the throttle, and both those drivers still running right now in the 7th and 8th positions.
Yeah, that 24 has got some heavy damage to the right side of that machine. That's going to really affect the handling of his car, but can he hold on and can he maintain a top 10 position is really going to be the aim of the 24 here on out. It's just to try to survive after that big contact with the wall, and that really set up the 28 pretty nicely. Got around them both pretty quickly, and here he is. He's going to be making his way up into the top 5, and he's going to set the hunt on the cars in front of him.
Yeah, on Brett Wren's hood, it says, need a hug. And I think there's going to be a lot of drivers that might feel like they need a hug at the end of this thing. It has been wild and action-packed from the drop of the green flag. Right here, this is the closest battle right here up at the front of this thing. The battle for 3rd, Matthew Hill and Michael Cole in the 43. Cole wants that spot, it seems. He wants that position right here all over the back bumper of Matthew Hill. Donnie Honeycutt's not too far up the road in the 22. So, yeah, there's a lot of opportunity right here maybe for some more passes to occur. There's a lap car up ahead. That's Tyler Hensley. He's kind of wounded. Saw Michael Cole look to the inside like he maybe had aspirations of using that lap car as a pick. But he decided to fall back in line right here as the field works its way into turn number 1.
Seeing a lot of patience out of that 43. He's gone to make the move 3 or 4 times now on Matthew Hill and backed out of it, thought better of him. And I imagine he's gonna have to make it stick one of these times and commit to the pass if he wants that 3rd place position.
Yeah, it's getting down to crunch time for sure. Oh, and he committed to turn 3 right there. They made some contact. Hill is going to save it. Wow, I cannot believe that. Yeah, we saw the 43. He decided to take a much earlier entry. We were seeing him kind of shallow up the entry to turn 3, and he turned in a little bit quicker than the 57, and the 57 turned down, and they made contact right front to left rear. And what a save by Matthew Hill. I cannot believe how sideways that car was, and he was able to hold onto it, doing what I can right here to get us back. I don't want to lose sight of the action on the racetrack right here, but I do have a side-by-side replay right here. We might be able to pull it up in double box right here and see what occurred.
Yeah, we've seen it many times tonight, Chris. I don't know how many times, but we've seen this very same contact. Car going to the bottom, car up top, just not giving enough room right there. And you saw the big run the 43 had going into that corner. It almost looked like he had fresher tires in the 57. That's how big of a run he did have. And 57 just a little too slow to the draw. Ended up making some contact, but held on to it. Right now, still maintaining to that 5th spot, although he's got a mirror full of that 57 right behind him. I'm sorry, 54 right behind him.
Yeah, great save. You saw those hands working behind the wheel of that number 57 right there. As he did a great job of holding on to it. Bryce Hinton has grabbed that 3rd spot and found himself right here up in the podium positions, as you mentioned, Sean. And Michael Cole is going to do what he can to set his sights on him. Battle going on right here for 7th spot. Brett Wren and Tyler Merkel. Merkel in that mellow yellow throwback. It's always a good, iconic paint scheme, Sean. I don't know how you feel about that car, but I've always really been partial to that car. It's a great paint scheme on that 6.
Yeah, it's kind of sad we don't see it all anymore, and we don't see it as often. Such an iconic car from the early 90s with Kyle Petty. Won all his races driving that beauty. And, we saw it that one time come back with Kyle Larson, and it's just put away by the Coca-Cola company. We can blame them.
Very unfortunate. Can blame it on Big Red Brand for sure. Battle going on for the 5th spot. Actually, the battle has ceased. Tyler Honeycutt has completed the pass on Matthew Hill, put Honeycutt up into the top 5. Going to see what he can do with Michael Cole and Bryce Hinton up ahead right here in the final 7 laps of this thing. Wonder if we can possibly, Cam Gillens, our producer, I wonder if maybe we can go to Donnie Honeycutt here and maybe get a look at the battle box to see possibly where things stand between Honeycutt and Cochran as far as pace is concerned right here. As they cross the start-finish line that time, these are race insights provided by Pierce Graphics for us, and the battle box shows, a very similar pace right here between the 8 and the 22. That time the difference was about 1/10 of a second between them. Donnie Honeycutt slightly slower than Jacob Cochran. We're going to see if it changes this time by. It was 1.06 seconds the lap before. This lap here, very similar pace, but slightly falling back there, Sean, 1.19 seconds.
Yeah, I can definitely feel sorry for the 22 because you can just see that wind driving away from him. But another problem the 22 has is that 28 coming up behind him. Been the fastest car on track a couple of these last few laps, and he is not putting it to bed yet. He wants that 2nd position if he can grab it. And a late race yellow would really mix this whole field up. But at the moment, these guys are pretty spread out. I don't think it's going to be happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that you're right, as Jacob Cochran is in firm control. You never know what will happen in the closing stages of one of these things, but I think that, we kind of alluded to it all night. We've seen Jacob Cochran enough here on Slingshot TV. We know how good he is on these types of tracks, Sean. We know how... he tagged the wall right there off of turn number 4. That's definitely not what he wanted to have happen, I don't think. It's currently showing... We had a little bit of a scoring glitch on our tower right here. It's showing as race winner Jacob Cochran. It's looking like... It's looking like he's in firm control, even with tagging the wall right there off of turn number 4. We'll see if we can reset that. It's still showing up right there, unfortunately. So he's not the winner yet, but he is definitely fast approaching the checker flag.
And we've seen the long run pace out of him all night, and it's very fitting that this ends on a long run. He's able to extend that gap and really flex his muscle and what he has shown he does best, and that's save his stuff, keep those rubbers underneath them. And like he alluded to in his very own interview, he said, I got to keep the tires underneath me and they're going to be around for the end. And he's done a masterful job at it tonight. And he's just a couple corners away from coming home a winner.
Jacob Cochran coming off turn 4. He will receive the white flag. 1 lap to go, presented by Whiplash Sim Cams. The next flag, whatever it is, will end the race. And it is all Jacob Cochran right here in the final stage of this. He's got the downtown auto sales on that Ford Mustang, doing the sponsor proud tonight as he works his way through turn 3 and 4. If you're going to win the championship in this series, I think you're going to have to go through this number 8 machine, and he proved it tonight. Jacob Cochran comes off turn 4, and he's going to win the Lone Star 175 here at Texas. Finishing in the second spot behind him, you got Donnie Honeycutt, and rounding out your podium finishers is going to be Bryce Hinton in the number 28 car. Hey, we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight, everybody participating in the chat. We had that Kyle Busch diecast as we see Bryce Hinton giving a little bit of a congratulatory bump right there to the winner tonight, Jacob Cochran. We're going to go ahead and announce the giveaway winner tonight. The winner of the Kyle Busch diecast is going to be Noah Lawrence. Noah Lawrence is going to win the Kyle Busch diecast tonight. We appreciate Noah for tuning in and for participating all night tonight in the chat. Your support and all of our viewers tonight, their support helps put their drivers, their favorite drivers, in front of more viewers every single week here on the channel. We appreciate you tuning in. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and tell your friends to tune in every single week. You can find the link. You'll find the email address that you need to email. It'll be posted here in the chat. It's going to be ssracingleagues@gmail.com. ssracingleagues@gmail.com is the email address that you need to reach out to receive that Kyle Busch diecast. And while we were saying that, Jacob Cochran was burning it down right here on the front stretch, and tonight's winner is definitely one happy camper right there in that number 8 car. While we try to get situated right here with our top 3, and I believe that we have our podium finishers here in the waiting room. So we're going to take this opportunity right here. I'm going to pull in our 3rd place finisher into the broadcast booth. That's going to be Bryce Hinton. Bryce Hinton, driver of the number 28. This is the Slingshot TV booth. You got a copy?
Hey guys, sure do.
Man, Bryce, we knew that you were going to be somebody to contend with all night tonight after picking up that win last week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Tell us about your night behind the wheel of that number 28. You know, we saw you on a little bit different pit strategy at one point and maybe lost a little bit of track position because of that, but you had enough speed in the 28 to get back up there at the front of that thing. How was your night from your perspective?
Man, I once again, this is my first time driving the Xfinity car at this track. That's why I joined the series, to learn the car, but I didn't realize how much tires would matter. In that first stage, I thought, I saved on my thought, or so I thought. I'll stick it out, and that was not the right decision. So I ended up using that saved set as kind of fuel for the end. I knew that I would get an opportunity somewhere to get the tires at the last, stage of the race, so that way I had the freshest tires. And it kind of worked out because I got some damage from hitting the wall, and I was really upset about that, but it turned out to work in my favor. It forced me down pit road, gave me an opportunity to not care about taking 4 tires, and I think I went from the last place car on that final restart to 3rd place, so I can't be mad at that.
Yeah, it was definitely a great drive up through the field. And man, we saw all kinds of action on the track, some of it around you, as a lot of calamity out there tonight. And you might not expect to see that on a 1.5 mile like Texas Motor Speedway, but you do expect to see it next week as you guys are going to head to Martinsville here in the NSRLA Downtown Auto Sales Series. How do you feel about your chances headed towards Martinsville next week?
Yeah, I'll tell you, if there's a track that I am not good at, it's that one. So I am just going to attempt to finish on the lead lap. That would be an amazing race for me, I feel. I'm going to let these guys that know what they're doing run up front. I'm just going to try to stay alive.
Well, you are a very humble man because we know that you got a lot of speed in that 28 car. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you hit the track next week. And, before we let you celebrate this great finish tonight and ponder what occurs next week at Martinsville, we're going to turn it over to you for any shout outs that you might have for any friends, family, or sponsors that might be watching.
Yeah, got to shout out JBL on the car. Sponsor right there, Ryan Bittler. He's my painter. Check out from Hell Racing Paints. Those guys do a great job. And also got to shout out my wife. We got some good news. She has a heart condition, and we got good news that she won't need open heart surgery. So we're having a good
That's
day
great.
here.
That's great. That's great news. We love to hear that. And yeah, we definitely love broadcasting these races right here and hearing the great news here in that post-race interview. That's Bryce Hinton, our third place finisher tonight. Congratulations on the happy news. Congratulations on the great run. And we will see you next week at Martinsville, my friend.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right, see ya. And that was Bryce Hinton, third place finisher tonight. And I'm going to turn it over to my broadcast partner right here, Sean Signori, to talk to Donnie Honeycutt.
Donnie Honeycutt is the Slingshot Racing booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, second place tonight. It's a pretty good finish out of that 22 car. A lot of calamity out there. Take us through your mentality coming into a race like this with so many incidents happening in front of you that kept you able to keep that nose clean and bring it home up front.
Yeah, starting off, I was trying to just take it easy. I thought about just trying to run it hard there, but then after about 4 or 5 laps, you can already tell if you try to run it too hard, your right front, you lose that right front, you can get real tight off the corners. So I started backing it down. Then I started seeing everybody having issues, wrecking. I said, well, let me just take it easy and try to survive. And then on one of the restarts, I had cold tires on, and I actually got loose and caused one accident myself, which I apologize to whoever was involved in that. But yeah, I was just trying to survive, taking it easy, and then luckily got some track position there on this last run here to the green. I mean, from green to the checker.
We're going short track racing next week at Martinsville, and guess what? There's going to be more incidents there. Do you have any expectations? You think you are a short track racer that's talented enough to maybe go out there and steal another show?
Short tracks, yes, I run really good at short tracks, but for some reason, Martinsville has just been my Achilles heel. I've been having some issues at Martin. I run decent, don't get me wrong, but for the win, no, we're going to have to have a lot of guys crash out before I win probably.
Well, who knows? Anything can happen there. Congratulations on your second place finish tonight. Any sponsors, plugs, shout outs you'd like to give?
Oh yeah, just my teammates at Ghost Motorsports. We run well together and help each other out. You guys for the broadcast, my friends and family that watches all the broadcasts, and Jacob for the winning there, and Bryce for third. So congrats to those guys, and just ready for next week.
Congratulations. That is Donnie Honeycutt in this 22 Callaway machine. I'm going to send it back over to Chris, who's going to be with your winner, Jacob Cochran.
We are going to pull Jacob Cochran here into the booth. Tonight's winner, Jacob Cochran. This is the Slingshot TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Jacob, I think I made mention of it right there in the closing stages of the race right here. I said that if you're going to win the championship this season, I think that you're going to have to go through that number 8 machine to get it done. And you definitely stamped your presence right here in the series tonight, picking up the win here at Texas. Tell us about your night before you got up there to the lead and in control of the race. Hearing a lot of drivers talking about tire wear, and we know that's your strength is saving those tires. What'd you have to do to look after the right front tonight?
Yeah, really just back up the corners, especially in one, and not really push it on the exit of two. I felt like everybody was going wide open 3 and 4, which that's the fastest way, but it really helped. Seemed like it helped the tires a lot if you just kind of burp the throttle a little bit going into 3 to let the car kind of rotate through. So I was getting killed early in runs because of that, but I felt like it paid off later in the run.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you had a good handle on trying to keep that right front underneath you all night long. To nobody's surprise if they've been watching here on Slingshot TV. We've been watching you for a while. We know how fast you are, and this is a tough field right here in the Downtown Auto Sales Series series right here in NSRLA. a lot of drivers, they probably got their eyes on you right here. Who do you feel like is your, your greatest competition? Maybe, thinking ahead. I know that we're way far away from, championship season, but, who do you have your eyes on maybe as, contenders that you're going to have to deal with this season?
Man, I don't know. They're all pretty good. I mean, Evan's always good, and the Honeycutts are good. Michael Hayes is good, and 28, he's pretty good. I mean, they're all good. It's a really good field. A lot of good drivers in here. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, especially when we get into playoffs and championships and all that. That's it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see what it comes down to. We got the championship format a little different. So yeah, I think it's going to crown a true champion.
Yeah, we can't wait to see how that championship format shakes out in the final stages. But we got a lot of racing before then, including next week at Martinsville. Now, we know that you are the tire maestro on the 1.5 miles. How do you feel about heading into Martinsville next week? We know that anything can happen there on the paperclip.
Yeah. If we can keep it clean, we'll be all right. Short tracks are my heart. Martinsville is a good track for us, but it just seems like it's kind of like Talladega or Daytona. It's just you get run over. So we'll see. Hopefully we can keep it clean and finish it strong.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing you get your elbows out next week as we head to Virginia. Before we let you go celebrate this win tonight, so we're going to turn it over to you if you got any shout outs for any friends, family, or sponsors that might have tuned in to watch you here tonight.
Yeah, first shout out you guys up in the Slingshot booth. You guys do a great job, and always love going back and watching it. Shout out to my team, Barry Performance Racing, Andy Barry, and Michael Cole. He had a solid finish tonight, so shout out to him. And then my sponsor, Downtown Auto Sales, for sponsoring me and then the series as well. So.
All right, man. Well, hey, congratulations on a great run tonight, a great win. And we're looking forward to seeing you next week at Martinsville. That's tonight's winner, Jacob Cochran. Good win, bud. Congratulations.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
You too. And that will be our podium finishers tonight. Third place, Bryce Hinton, Donnie Honeycutt in second, and the winner, Jacob Cochran. Man, Sean, what a tremendous night of action here at Texas Motor Speedway. A lot of action on track. I don't think I quite expected as many cautions as what we got, but, definitely some great racing and no lack of entertainment out here all night tonight.
I think we got everything we could ask for. We had contact for the lead, had contact in the back, had contact on pit road, had comers and goers, had tire strategies, everything we can ask for out of a race like this, and it sure was interesting from start to finish. Anybody could have won this race tonight, but Jacob Cochran was the one that kept it out front, kept it clean, and came home the winner.
He definitely did, and we're going to see much more of him and all these other drivers for the rest of this season. Let's go ahead and go to tonight's finishing order. Let's take a look at the results. We already heard from tonight's winner, Jacob Cochran, Donnie Honeycutt, and Bryce Hinton, the podium finishers. But we're going to take a look at the rest of the finishing order behind them. Michael Cole is going to bring it home in fourth. You heard Jacob Cochran mention him. He knows how fast Cole is, and he's got to contend with him all season long. Tyler Honeycutt also is a very fast driver. We saw him recover after a near miss with Brett Wren. He'll bring it home in the top 5. Matthew Heel, a very entertaining driver all night long tonight. Great strategy out of him, but he will finish in the 6th spot. Let's give a call to Brett Wren. He recovered after that slide earlier. We saw him almost get turned around in turns 1 and 2 in the closing stages. He's going to bring it home in 7th. A great run for Brett. Ryan Bittler going to finish in 8th. Tyler Merkel in the number 6 will finish in 9th. And Dan Berg is going to round out the top 10 in that number 48.
Finishing 11th tonight was Alex Pollock in his 92 car. Vincent Short comes home in 12th. Jordan Ives in 13th. Evan Janik comes home in 14th after running up front for the lead earlier. Got into that late race incident, but the guys start finishing behind him. That was the 15th of Blaze Baker. Mark Cofield came home in 16th. Bradley Minor, 17th. Tyler Hensley, some bad luck. Finished 3 laps down, 18th. Stephen Gill, more bad luck for that 5 car. Had a great race going. Ended up 19th, 19 laps down. And Gino Volante, on his birthday, is able to celebrate 20th place finish.
As we go through the final finishers here tonight, Michael Hayes, man, the story for Michael Hayes, he had a lot more speed in that number 19 than that. He's a driver that we're going to have to watch all season long for sure, our pole sitter tonight. Brandon Vees, we heard about his trouble. Unfortunately, it blew his engine in that number 65. He's going to finish in 22nd. The Daytona winner, Andy Berry, unfortunately caught up in a crash on the backstretch, is going to finish in 23rd. Brandon Waldrop, all these drivers you see right here ran into trouble at some point. He's going to finish in the number 50 in 24th. Dustin Lewis is going to finish in 25th in the 33. Roy Sprague is going to bring it home in 26th. Gavin Henson, some trouble early on with Tristan Love. Those drivers are going to finish 27th and 28th, respectively. And everybody from that point forth right there, David Moyer and Jordan Bridges, unfortunately, those 2 cars did not qualify for the race tonight. If you liked what you saw tonight here on Slingshot TV from these NSRLA drivers, then you just need to tune in all next week, because we're bringing you all the action next week here on Slingshot TV. On Monday night, our team of Johnny Rapp and Justin Wilson will bring you the UD Awards National Series from the Slingshot Racing League. We're going to be tackling the 2-mile D-shaped oval of Michigan, I believe. I should probably know that since I'm driving in the series. But yeah, I think they were headed to Michigan, and those ARCA cars are going to put on one heck of a show at Michigan. You think we'll be close to wide open in those things, Sean?
Most definitely. And if you're not wide open, you ain't going to be very fast.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to get after it, I guess, in that thing. We're in a tight points battle with Braxton. Been a great series so far. Ellis Thomas, our play-by-play man here on Thursday nights, and our leader here at Slingshot TV. He picked up the win last week at Talladega. Wednesday night, the Slingshot Stand-Up Fight Series Invitational Series is going to head to Watkins Glen for some left and right-hand turns. Always a fun visit to the road course up in New York. So excited to see the action there. And yeah, so Sal, Sky, and Kobe will be bringing you all the action from there next week. And then we'll be back here on Thursday night, as we mentioned before, at Martinsville Speedway. Myself, Ellis, and Cam bringing you all the action from the paperclip. Sean, any last-minute thoughts before we sign out for tonight?
Yeah, great racing tonight. It was a lot of fun to be here from the start to finish. Lots of excitement, lots of incidents. Great job for Jacob Cochran up front. Can't understate what a great job he did. A lot of fun to be up here tonight, take part in all this.
Yeah, we want to give a shout-out to you as well. Thank you so much for filling in tonight for Ellis. You always do a great job, and we love having you here in the Slingshot TV booth whenever we can have you, for sure. Also want to give a shout out also to our producer Cam Gillens, who provides you with all of the shots that you saw right here tonight with all the Whiplash Sim cams. He worked those masterfully, and we'll be back next week here, same time, same channel. Until then, y'all have an awesome night. We'll see you next week.